What's going on, Odooers? In this video, we're going to talk about creating custom activities. If you've ever seen our videos on the ins and outs of the CRM app, then you're an old pro at pipelines, activities, leads, and opportunities. You know it like the back of your hand, but what if you want your employees to do something a bit more complex than just sending an email or uploading a document? Say, you're a purveyor of fine stealthy wood products like my company, Stealthy Wood. As part of your CRM flow, you might have customers reviewing samples, employees traveling to take measurements, spinning up production lines, and so forth. Can Odoo help create, manage, and track custom activities like that? Absolutely. Keep watching and let me show you how. Okay, first things first, Odooers, we're going to open up our CRM application. Now, activities are fully baked into the app's functionality, so there's nothing you need to do to enable them. However, we are going to click configuration at the top and we're going to click on activity types under the activities subheader. Now, once we do that, it takes us to our activity types page, and here we'll see all of the activities in the CRM app. Like we have to do, email, call, meeting, documents, and more. However, you might see some other ones down below depending on which apps are installed in your database. So if your activity types page doesn't look exactly like mine, no worries at all. However, to get started, we're going to click New in the top left corner. This takes you to an activity types form. I need to make an activity to send follow-up emails after successful sales and deliveries, so we're going to do this together step by step. The name of the activity goes in the name field right here. This is how it appears behind the scenes, like if you're setting an activity as part of an activity plan. So I'm going to name my activity something super simple, follow-up email. Under the activity settings section, we have the action field. Now, this determines what the assigned user needs to do and what forms they'll see when they go to complete this activity. The actions are based off of the existing activities. We have upload document, phone call, as well as meeting, and none. So again, the options available to you here may be different depending on what Odoo apps you have installed, but for this example, we're going to leave this set to none, since this isn't an option for sending an email. Next, we have dashboard visibility. This determines how activities appear to other users looking at the pipeline. You can set activities to be visible to all activities or just own activities, which will be no users and only the user who created the activity. We'll leave it like that, but you could choose all activities if, say, you want employees to have more visibility into each other's work, or if you have someone in charge of overseeing how a specific activity gets handled. Down below, we have the default user field. Now, this lets you set a specific user to handle this activity every time it's generated. Of course, that's just the default since the user can manually be changed at any time. So that being said, we're going to leave this field blank. And that's because I want whoever's been handling the opportunity to be the one sending out the email. Next, we have our default summary as the title of the activity when you're interacting with the pipeline. This can be descriptive or a direction or whatever you like. So let's go with send a follow-up email. Pretty similar to the title. Now, we can also set a deadline for the activity using this schedule feature right here. This will be based on the previous activity's deadline if there was one. If there wasn't, it just uses the current date. And please note, when it comes to schedule, Odoo uses the date that was set as the deadline, regardless of whether or not the deadline was actually met. So if you want to go off of completion date, we need to change that in the settings, which we're going to do now. And we're going to schedule this to 3 days after the completion date. Now we can also provide additional context to the assigned user in the default notes section. I'm a big believer in being thorough, so let's go ahead and write a quick default note, which just says write and send the customer a follow-up email thanking them for their purchase and telling them to please reach out if they need anything else. Now let's talk about the next activity section. First off, we have the chaining type, which is what the system will do once the activity is complete. It can suggest the next activity and let the user decide whether or not they want to add it to the planned activities or just automatically trigger the next activity and create it. You'll also notice that the field underneath chaining type changes between suggest as well as trigger based on what you choose in the chaining type. If you don't want anything to happen, then just leave it on suggest next activity and don't put anything else in the suggest field. And we'll go with that since we want this follow-up email to mark the last step in the great customer experience. Finally, you can also set a custom email template to accompany this activity. This template will appear as a suggestion in the planned activities section of the chatter. It doesn't get sent to customers automatically, but it can be sent with just one quick click. We're going to leave this blank though because I want my team to send custom written email messages that are personalized to our customers and not just a template. But if you want to learn more about email templates, check out the links in this video's description. And next, let's go ahead and see all of this in action. I'm just going to click Save here at the top. And then we're going to click on the activity types breadcrumb to take us back to our previous screen. And look at that, we have our new follow-up email activity right there. I want to make sure this is triggered automatically, so we're going to click into our Fulfill the Custom Order activity. And then here in the next activity section, we're going to change the chaining type to trigger the next activity. And then we're going to add in the trigger field, follow-up email. And now we're done. Now, whenever Fulfill the Custom Order is completed, a follow-up email will automatically be triggered 3 days later. As activities in the plan get marked done in the chatter, there will also be a pop-up with the option to just mark them as done or to mark them as done and schedule the next one. Since we created a whole plan, we can just mark ours as done, but if you weren't using a plan or if you had to pivot your activities for whatever reason, like a customer wanted to see more samples, then you could click done and schedule next. This will immediately open the activities pop-up so you can choose the next activities from your list of default and custom activities. Pretty handy, right? With custom activities, I can make sure that my CRM app fits my business's specific needs and not just in terms of what activities get tracked, but also what follow-up tasks are automated, everything's properly managed, and all the good stuff that helps a business be more efficient. But what if you don't have a single activity that you want your team to do? What if you have a whole plan? Some sort of plan of activities or activity plan, if you will. Well, that's a topic for another video. With this current activity, watch a video, complete your next task has automatically triggered. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you later, Odooers.